Hey guys, this morning we're going to be doing a set of my mini tag-along blanket with the matching hat. And if you visited my Facebook, you will have seen all these. I have posted pictures. And I've had several requests to do a video on them, even though they're just basic granny squares. Some of them have different edging on them. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to do the size, far as the size that I've made these. And they vary a little bit based on the yarn, but they're all pretty much the same amount of rounds. But the hats are all different. It just depends on which way I wanted to crochet them. Some of them are half double crochet with a pom-pom ball and just crocheted layers at the bottom. This one, you see it's got little bobbles on part of it, and it has a little brim. This one is just like a little funny looking little bonnet there with a point on the top, and it has it's fanned out across the brim there. That one has two pom-poms on the side. That one, of course, is a ladybug. That one's just plain with the bubble on top. And this one has a daisy. So, you know, it's just about color coordination with these things. And the size is kind of important. And the meaning behind me making these are so that the babies and the toddlers that get attached, or the parents want them to have a small blanket to carry around where they don't have to carry around a big one all the time. These are a good option. And not sure about your babies, but my babies always like toting around a blanket. So these are really good ideas. They're just their size and big enough for their hands. So I thought it was just going to be a cute little idea. So I will be selling these as well. So let's get started. And like I said, the hat is on you. All I'm going to show you is how I did the granny squares. So let's get started. Alright guys, this is going to be my color coordination for my mini tag-along granny square blankie. This is a little bit of a chunkier style yarn. It has pink, yellow, blue, and white in it. Then I'm going to do a little row of yellow. I'm not sure about my combinations yet, and then I have like this aqua blue. Now when I'm doing a granny square, I don't like to change colors really often. If I want to do many color changes, I'm just going to pick a yarn that is a self-changing yarn that changes pretty quickly throughout the pattern, and the use of the yarn, of course. But because when you're doing a granny square, in my opinion, it's harder to hide the little end pieces where you're separating and tying them together, and you're trying to hide these. Being that there's such big gaps in the corners and in the on the straightways, it's really difficult to hide all of those yarn ends. So I won't change color in general, period. No more than 2, and sometimes I do it 3 times. I have done a couple where I will put in a third color, like I'm probably going to do that on this one because I'm just going to show you what it's going to look like to add 3 colors. And also for those of you who have difficulty changing colors, this is going to be a good lesson for that. Alright, so basically what I do for these granny squares is I start off with my primary color, and then I'm going to switch over at some point between the 2 of these. And sometimes it's on the ends that I do the switching over, or on the outside parts. And sorry, I'm just unraveling some yarn. I go through it pretty quickly. And sometimes it's in the middle. So it just depends on when I feel like switching the color out. So you be the judge of it. You decide when you want to change your color out, and you can do it with me, or if you're familiar with how to do it already, then by all means go for it. But we're going to get started here, and I am going to use a 6mm hook. By all means, use the hook that's going to go with your yarn. Now these 2 are standard worsted 4 worsted weight yarns. This one's a thicker yarn, but this squishes down pretty easily. So this is the combination I've chosen. I wanted to get a bigger stitch out of it. So this is a 6mm. So how we're going to start the basic granny square is you're going to chain up 4. And if you want to do whatever color that you want to start with. Or you can do a solid, it's up to you. You're going to go into that first stitch and you're going to pull through and through. Alright, so you got your center hole there, and these are the end pieces that I'm talking about. As you have to switch these out, they become a pain to try to hide those. So what we're going to do is chain up 3. This is going to count as your first double crochet. Then you're going to yarn over and you're going to go back into the center circle for 2 more double crochet. And people do these differently. I don't see that it makes any difference as long as it has the same outcome. So this is my way. So we're going to chain 2 now. This is going to establish the first corner. Then you're going to go back into the circle and you're going to do 3 double crochet here. And the reason you only did 2 to start with is because your chain 3 acted as your first double crochet. Okay, now at this point you may want to tug on this a bit and tighten that in a little ways. That way it'll close your circle up a bit. Now you're going to chain 2. We only chain 2 at the corners, okay? So this is going to form your second corner. So we're going to go back in and do 3 more double crochet. Chain 2. It's going to do your third corner there. And then your last set of 3 double crochet go in the center. Okay, and you still want to do that chain 2, okay, because you got to make that 4th corner. So then you're going to count up 3 stitches, so 1, 2, and 3, which is the top 1. You're going to put your hook in and you're going to do a slip stitch, pull through and through. Okay, so now you should have 4 sets of 3 double crochet clusters here, and you should have 4 corners, which you should see 4 gaps. Now some people will slip stitch all the way to this corner and start, but I don't see the point of doing that when all you got to do is do your chain 3 and go into the one right here behind it. It really does act the same way. So depends on how many steps you want to go through. So you're going to do 3 double crochet right here in this gap, and we're not going to be working in any stitches. You're going to be working in all gaps, which are going to be your corners and your straightaways. Okay, so once you've chained 3, if I can get this kitten out from taking my yarn, I'll be just fine. I have to battle kittens every morning on my videos. Okay, so now you're going to chain 1 because you're going across 3 here, and then you're going to jump to this next corner and do 3 double crochet. Okay. Now you're going to chain 2 on each corner. Okay, the reason you didn't do it down here is because we're going to finish the other half of this on the end of this round. You'll do half of the beginning one when you start, and you'll do the other half when you end. So you chain 2, and now you're going to go back into that same corner. So technically you're going to have 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, all in this corner. That's going to round it for you and give you that rounded edge for a corner. Okay? This is what you should have at this point. Now because you're going across the straight way here, you're going to chain 1. Corners you chain 2, straightways you chain 1. And there will be more gaps along this right here the further that you go. So you're going to jump across to the corner, and you're going to do 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, all in this corner space. Okay, so 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. Okay, now you're going across a straight way. You're not over here yet, so now you're going to chain 1. Now you're going to go to the corner. You're going to do the same process. You're going to do 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. Okay, that's 3. So now you just chain your 2 and 3 more in that same space. Okay, now you're on the straight way again, chain 1. Now you're going to jump all the way to here. You know how we've been putting 2 sets in each corner. You're going to go right here in the same corner in which you started with, and you're going to finish the other half. So that means you're going to jump into this corner and do 3 double crochet. Okay, now to form that corner, you're like, what do we do? Okay, in between here we did chain 2s. You still have to do your chain 2 because you're in a corner. Now you're going to count up 3, so 1, 2, 3, and you're going to join this with a slip stitch. Okay, now there's your second round completed. Okay, so now what you're going to do, you're going to do 3 chain 3. That's going to be your first double crochet, and then you're going to start in this gap. So you're going to go in this gap for 2 double crochet only. The first one you're actually only putting 2 in, because as you chain those 3, that's acting as your first double crochet each time. Okay, so now you're on a straight way. You're going to chain 1. Now you notice you've got a gap here that you didn't have before. That's because every round you go on, there's going to be another gap added to each side. So when you get to these gaps, you're just going to put 3 double crochet here. Just 3 double crochet. Nothing else. Then you're going to chain 1 because you're not at the corner yet. Now you're at the corner. You're going to go in there for your 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 double crochet. Now you have to put the chain 2 in there. If you don't, you're going to end up with a hat. Simple as that. A hat or a bag or something, it's going to bowl up on you, okay? And you will know when you don't have a chain 2 in there, because it will let you know. It's very self-telling. How's that? Okay, so I just made my corner. So 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 double crochet. Now you're on the straight way, so chain 1 and go into this next space for just plain 3 double crochet. And that's all that you're going to do for this round. It's just simple. Chain 1. Don't forget your chain 1s. Okay, because those chain 1s are making the gaps for the next and following rounds. So your next corner gets 3 double crochet. Chain 2 and 3 double crochet, all in the same gap. This process does not change throughout this whole pattern unless you put a different border on it of like a double crochet, single crochet. But until you get to the border, this does not change. So now you're going to chain 1. You're done with the corner, chain 1. Now you're going to go into this gap for a basic 3 double crochet. Okay, chain 1 because you're not at your corner. Now you're at your corner. You're going to do 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 double crochet. Oops, I got a rat in my yarn from the kitty playing with it. You guys know I have to have at least 1 knot, right? Because I try to pull my yarn out ahead of time so that I'm not stuck on camera trying to pull it out. Then I have to fight with the kittens because they see my yarn hanging everywhere and then they go at it. And then we have to fight. Sorry guys. Alright, I'm going to have to get this out. Now you're just going to do this all the way across here. You should only have to do the other half of the corner the straight way, and then the other half of this corner, and I'll meet you back up. Do not do that last chain 2 because we are going to change color on this round. I will be back. Alright guys, I am back. I am at this corner now. You will do your chain 2 now. Go into that 3rd stitch and stop right there. If you're changing color, you want to leave about 1.5 inch, 2 inch strand there, and pick your next color. Whichever color that you are going to use for your next round, whether it be for the rest of your granny square afghan, or if you're just going to do a single round with this color. Sometimes I'll do one single round because that is, it sets off, I'm just pulling yarn out, guys. It sets off the pattern really nice, like if you just do one sporadic round of color. And that's really how I like to do mine sometimes, is just to add one round of another color and then go back. Alright, let's zoom in a bit here. So now, where you would normally bring this and hoop and pull through to do your slip knot, you're just going to add this new color. Now, what I would advise you to do is go ahead and make a slip knot. It makes it much easier to maintain this on this hook. Okay, because then it becomes the problem of the hook to hang on to it, not you. Okay, so grab your yarn right here, then you're going to pull through and through, finish your slip knot. Now what I do is I turn it over and I take the beginning piece and the ending piece and I do tie a gentle knot there. That is just for extra security. And then I end up cutting them down to make sure that they match in size. I'm going to cut my beginning part off there. Okay? So, and then at this point, if you want to, you can weave it in, but to be honest with you, it doesn't do much good on a granny square. You know, because it's not, you're not working in the actual stitches. That's why I say I do not like changing color very often on a granny square, because these become harder and harder to hide. Now what I have done though, just to give it a little security, is I'll wrap it around and stick it in the hole that I'm working in. That way at least I can work over it a little bit. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to do your chain 3 here, like you normally would. Let's move these pieces diagonally this way. Now you're just going to go right back in here and do the same thing you've been doing. Lay down there. You're going to put 2 double crochet into this corner. Okay, chain 1. Back this up, not forward it. Okay, now you're going to see you have 2 gaps. And as I said, every round you go, you're going to have another gap on each side. So basically, doing the math, you're going to have 4 extra gaps per side. I mean, let me rephrase that. You're going to have 4 extra gaps per round, 1 on each side. Okay, so you chained 1. Now you're just going to yarn over and put 3 double crochet in this gap. Okay, chain 1, 3 double crochet in the next gap, chain 1, and now you're finally at your corner, and the corner will get further and further away the larger you go. And this can go on for as long as you want it. You can go on and make this a twin size. Now I just chained 2 at the corner here, and I'm going to go back in to do the other half here. You can make it a full size. This thing could go on forever. So it's whatever you want to make it, or whatever you're doing with it, it's up to you. Now you're going to chain your 1. You're going to go into the next gap for 3 double crochet. Nothing fancy. 3 double crochet. In every gap across the straightway gets 3 double crochet. And then you're going to do your chain 1, because your chain 1s are building your next gaps, as I said before, for your next row. And then next gap gets 3 double crochet. Chain 1. Then you're at your corner again, so you're going to do your same process of 3 double crochet, chain 2 and 3 double crochet. So chain 2 and then 3 double crochet. And I think I got another little twist in my yarn here. Of course I do. I know you guys like to laugh at me when I get little yarn bubbles. I don't like it at all. Okay. So finish up your corner here. Okay. Now you're going to chain 1 and you're just going to keep on going with the same process. Now if you look at it, look how beautiful that looks. Zoom in a bit for you here. Okay, you see your pattern? Now if you pay attention to, if you cover this up, on this first round you had 1 gap along the straightway. This one you had 2 gaps, because then you get to your corners. This one you've already got 3 gaps. Okay, so again, the more rounds you do, the more gaps you're going to have to go in. So I'm going to continue the same pattern, and I want you to do the same. I'm going to go up maybe 2-3 more rows, and then I'll be back with you and I'll show you where I'm at, and then we'll go ahead and do another color change, either back to the original color probably, because I think I'm going to save the yellow for the trim work. So you guys go ahead and make yourselves another 2 or 3 rows. Probably this row and 2 more is what I'm going to do. I want to give it some size before I come back on. So do this round and do 2 more rounds after, just like I showed you. Nothing's going to be different other than the fact you're going to have an additional space along your straightaways. And you know what to do. It's 3 double crochet, chain 1, and then you just keep going. So I'll be back as soon as I get my other 2 rounds completed. Alright guys, I'm back. I have gone around now for 3 rounds of this baby blue. And at this point now, if you want to continue and do a couple more rows in this, and then do your maybe your last 2 rows, which would be your border in a different color, you can do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, well, I got to chain my 2 first. Alright, then I'm going to go into the top of that first chain 3, just like we've been doing. And I'm going to take my yellow and do like we've been doing. I'm just going to make a slip knot with this and slide it on. And instead of pulling through the blue, I'm just going to pull the yellow through. Okay, and then I'm just going to fasten off my blue. Okay, and then I'll just tie that little knot there just to make sure nothing comes loose. Okay, so now you just start this again. You know, you'll chain your 3 and you'll just keep working until you get to the size you want. So then but the only difference is you're going to have 1 more space, like I've been telling you, on each side that you're going to have to work 3 double crochet in. Okay. Okay, so basically now you're just going to go all the way around. I don't know how big you're making your project, but this again is for a mini tag-along set that I always do. So I'm going to make this one the size of the others. And then you have a choice. You can end, or not end, but do a round or 2 of single crochet for your border. You can also go around and do a round or 2 of double crochet in each stitch. You could go into the corners and put a very creative design there in the corners. So the things you can put on these for their borders are just endless, so it's just basically personal preference. And I'm not going to do the actual borders on video, because that's basically up to you. And with these, I haven't been doing a fancy border. I've been keeping them straight because they're going to be for small babies. So I don't really like to put a whole lot of in-depth border in for something, you know, for babies that are going to be putting it in their mouth and things like that. And if you have these big fluffy corners sticking off of it, that's the first thing that they'll tend to want to do. So basically now you're just going to keep going around. And what I'm going to probably end up doing is 3 rows of the yellow, which is going to match the 3 rows of the blue, and that's probably going to put me out to about here. And then I'm going to go back to my original color, and I'm going to probably do either 1 row or 1 round of double crochet or 2 rounds of double crochet, and then this will be finished. Okay, so once I've completed it, I'll come back, let you see what it looks like. Otherwise, just keep going and doing the same thing. And this is how to do a granny square and how to keep building it and building it and building it. You can keep going to where you make this into a full-size afghan, a baby's crib afghan. You can make a placemat doing this. You can make anything, any size of, I don't want to say afghan, but any size of what you're trying to make out of this. So again, I'll do 3 rows of yellow, and then I'll probably do 1 row of my beginning color, which is the pastel mix color, and then I'll finish it off, and the blanket part of it will be done. Then I'll have to do the hat. So it's very simple. So just keep going, use your creative mind on your colors, and put you a border on it once you've got your rows, as many of them as you want, as big as you want, and then you're done. So there's really no rocket science to these. Like I said, I had a few people that did want to see me do the video, so I hope this helped you out, guys. And like I said, the most important thing about making these is don't forget your chain 2s in the corners and be colorful. These things here are way more attractive the more color you can use, meaning ombre yarns, self-turning yarns. But just be careful about how many times you physically change, fasten off, and change yarns, because it's difficult to hide all of those. Okay, and when I'm finished with this, I will come back for a brief video, let you see it, and I will see you then. Alright guys, I have completed my mini tag-along granny square blankie, and as you see here, I went ahead and finished 3 rows of the yellow like I did the blue, and then I put a little bit of a scalloped edge. So I did what I did to make this little dip in here is I double crocheted in each of these 3, and then in the chain 1 that we had in between each of these, I did a single crochet, so that gives it a little bit of a dip. So then it turns it into like a little ruffled scallop edge. Okay, so this is all there is to it, and then what I'll end up doing is making a matching hat or bonnet, and my set will be complete. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and this was for my mini tag-along blankie and hat set. So again, just experiment with your color and your size. Make you full size anything, make yourself a mini size anything with this. Of course, there's little Mr. Henry, he's very talkative. So until the next video, guys, thanks for watching, and please make sure to hit the like buttons on the way out. I would greatly appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Happy hooking!